absolutely not. I told everyone, I was like, I never want to do this again. I just didn't want to go through all the drama of it. But at the same time, I still had my fiduciary responsibility. It didn't matter how I felt about the business.
Thanks for tuning in for another episode of the Skid Steer Nation podcast. That means it's hump day. We always release on Wednesdays. Mark your calendars for new episodes every Wednesday, guys. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Deemer. We've got a show that I'm really excited to have these guests on today. I met them a few months ago. I can't even tell you if it was a message, if I sent it, she sent it, whatever else. Yes, you heard me correctly. She. We have a father-daughter duo that just launched their excavation company. It's called Precision Gravel and Earth Solutions. Guys, she's got one hell of a story, an enormous amount of grit, a very supportive family, and some really cool experiences that she's had along the way. I can't wait to share some of her life lessons so that we can all learn how to be better business owners. Before I introduce Richard and Stephanie, I do want to remind all of you that it's literally called the Skid Steer Nation podcast because skidsteernation.com is your home for high-quality, American-made skid steer attachments. Just check them out. You're going to love what we have. Great selection. Guys, specialty products, power rakes, tree pullers, graders, grapple buckets, brush cutters, list goes on and on. We vet the manufacturers. We've interviewed them. We've checked their quality control. We've checked their build quality. We've done the homework for you so you can stay focused on your work and know that the equipment you purchase from us will meet and exceed your standards. So make sure you head over to skidsteernation.com. Richard and Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm excited to have you on.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah. So, Stephanie, maybe you can remind me, and we'll recap a little bit. How did we get introduced?
To be honest, someone was asking me last night, and I'm assuming that you found me on that North American Facebook group page because you had sent me a message, and I didn't know you from Adam at that point.
Yeah, I was just that creeper checking you out.
Well, in that group, we're all just working together and helping each other out. So I was like, cool.
Yeah.
I'll help you. I reached out to multiple different people on there.
Yeah, I'm the one that reached out to you. You are correct because I wanted to have you on as a guest of the show. I feel like there's not a lot of women in our industry, especially out operating.
There isn't. And it's actually funny. In our hometown, we have my previous business is me and my ex-husband. We actually have another couple that's a duo that's doing it in our area as well. So it's really cool to have a girl I can bounce off with too.
I can only imagine. Richard, how excited are you to partner up with your daughter and get to spend time with her every day?
Oh, it's always great to do so with your kids, but especially this one. This one has ideas and goals that amaze me, even though I've known her whole life. She's a super girl.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's got to be cool to be able to spend time with the family every day. Richard, I have a feeling you're going to be more of a showpiece today. Stephanie's probably going to dominate this conversation. She's got quite a unique story, and I really want to dig into that and inspire either other women or wives to get involved with their husbands, or even just the guys to be like, man, there's a lot of lessons I can learn from her today because you've had a lot of ups and downs. You've got some cool things that happen in your personal life, and I can't wait to dig into some of those. So, but like you said, this is your second business, correct?
It is, yes.
Yeah, and you started off in, was it a dental office before COVID is what the type of work you were doing?
Yeah, so kind of go in reverse. I was working in the dental offices for probably about 5 or 6 years. I was living in Fayetteville that time before I moved back home with my family. And just once you start getting to your groove and career path, sometimes it doesn't, just like with excavation, I didn't go to dental came to me. And, so I became a multi-practice manager. I was helping out with insurances and just doing a lot of behind the scenes, really seeing the way that it runs. And interesting enough, we went through a huge lawsuit. We were with a corporate entity and we ended up suing the company, creating our own company. So I got to see a lot of facets of the company at a very young age, which I think really opened up my eyes to business in general. But whenever I moved back home, I was here for quite a bit. Then COVID happened, and probably the worst place you want to be during COVID was inside someone's mouth. So they let a lot of us go. And my partner at that time, we were just dating. We weren't. We actually, you know what? We were engaged. Gosh, it's been a while. Ooh. But so he previously had been in excavation work out in North Carolina. If you know, there's a 40 and 85 that runs through and it splits in the middle of where Durham is. He did a lot of that widening out there, a lot of like digging out for parking lots out and whatnot. Just he was very, very rehearsed at that time. But he was in the entertainment business, sort of like in the bar industry. I think some of your history is like restaurant and bar, correct?
It sure is.
And so he was similar. So he was in that entity in there. And so we're both going like, what do we do? And so we had an option. We could either go with a larger company or a smaller company. And he'd always talked about his goal was that he really wanted to be able to have something that was his own. So, yes, we could have made more money, had better benefits if we went with a larger company at that time. And he had the experience. He had people literally, he called them. They're like, we've been waiting for you. And but we decided to go with a smaller company just so that we didn't know when our steps would take us to creating our own company. But we just wanted to feel like a person, feel like we could work with someone, learn. And that's just kind of how we got in.
That's awesome. And you had zero background in excavation, right? Personally?
Oh gosh, no, I didn't know nothing. I mean, I seen them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I sat I actually have a picture from back in college. And I'm like sitting inside of a big excavator bucket, but I had no clue that this was going to be my life.
That's fantastic. So when you guys started that business, was the vision for him to be out in the field and for you to handle like the office, marketing, all of that, or were you always planning on going out into the field with him?
I was whatever was going to keep money in our pockets. So I was like, let's not hire anybody. Like, I hate to say it like this, but like, we're a lot of different type of folk in this industry. In our area, we're very country. So I'm like, we got a lot of rednecks, people that dropped out of high school. We got people that are great operators, but they just don't have like the same fundamentals. And I don't think that in any type of like all skier way. It's just the standard of living in a little small white picket business town. And I was like, if anybody can do it, I can do it. Like, I grew up, he did construction, he did vinyl siding. And so, I mean, I remember being a kid and hammering nails on the construction site and trying not to fall down. Like, they have the plywood, but not everywhere. So, like, not going in that area of the house while he's outside. So, I mean, why not?
I love it. Is it something that you fell in love with right away, or did it grow on you?
I would say it grew on me. I was curious. And so when I'm in a curious stage, I have a little bit more fear to a certain degree. So it's not that I feared the company. I just didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah. I get it. And then you got a lot of good business lessons the hard way with that first business, if I'm understanding correctly. And I always preach that, education's not free, whether you go to college or something else in life, but the lessons we learn that we carry with us have a cost. And yours had some pretty good costs.
It definitely did. And unfortunately, even with those costs that came, it was almost ignorance is bliss. Something I would say to someone that's starting off, especially if you have a partner, is 100% listen to your CPA whenever they say you need to have a business agreement, because you don't think it's going to happen to you until it does. Unfortunately, in North Carolina, we have a fiduciary responsibility that's already capped. Anything when it comes to a partnership, me and my partner were 50-50. So we were able to have those type of guidelines. But, we planned for the future. We planned to have this and grow legacy was our biggest goal once we got the ball moving and we really could see the picture forming. Because at first it was like we were just like a kid with a paint set and a canvas. We didn't know what was going on. We were just like, we didn't know the direction. We were, especially my partner, he was the guy that said like yes to everything. And I was like, dude, we can't say yes to everything. We can't. We got to figure out like what our niche and direction is going to be so that can we do everything? Yeah, hell yeah. It's dirt. You know, you can do anything in dirt. And if you mess up, you just fix it.
Right.
But we needed a direction. And, but yeah, going back to operations, make sure that you, even if you don't know the direction your business is going to go, make sure you structure your business in a way that not only protects you, but your partner too. Because these what ifs can happen. And
Yeah. No, you're 100% correct. And like, to just expand on that just a little bit, the people we work with for the consulting part of our business, if there's anyone else involved, and sometimes even the spouse, it's not for divorce reasons, but you got to have some sort of an organizational chart, right? Like you've got the founder, CEO, like at the end of the day, the 51% owner that makes final say. And then below that, your partner, who should be like the operating officer of the company or some other version of that. And then a lot of times we'll break it out. Like I just did this yesterday with a client where the husband keeps interjecting himself into the roles that she's taking on. And I'm like, listen, if he wants to work in marketing with you, then he's your employee when he's doing marketing. And like, lay it out, draw it out, piece of paper so that everyone sees it. So when there is moments of frustration, you can be like, this is why we decided who's in charge of what department when we were calm and cool.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Just defining those roles and expectations.
Yeah. And
I used to tell him all the time, he's a great, phenomenal operator. I don't think I could have asked for anyone better to learn from because I didn't have as much of a vision sense when it came to land projects because I just never had seen them. But I'm very adaptive. So whenever I was able to see what he showed me, it was easy to replicate what he did because he did it so well. And I'm so grateful for that because that's what created my what I can do now and what I want to be able to give to our clients with our new business. But I used to tell him, and I didn't mean it in any type of offense, but I would tell him, like, you're a great operator, but you're not a great businessman. And I don't say that to dig at him. I say that just because that's what it was.
It's more common than you think, like, and Richard, you could probably get a head shake in here on too, but there's a lot of times like you work for other companies and the frustration, the mismanagement, lack of communication. And you're like, I can do this work A-okay. I don't need this. And you go start a business and you're like, oh shit. Owning a business is not operating a machine or swinging a hammer. It's a whole new skill set.
Most businesses, you become the med quick of that business. There's calls, there's emergencies that you have to find that it really.
Yeah.
30 years for him in vinyl and going through 08 and 09 and all the ups and downs. He's seen it all. So, like, it came to having someone in business. It wasn't, and he's done work with septics and utilities previously, so he has experience on the machines, but the integrity and the professionalism that he built in our county whenever it came to his business, not many people can stand on 2 feet and say, I did it for 30 years. Like,
right.
Me, myself.
But then again, I was the ex. I was a great installer, a terrible businessman. We had kids early. Our first was born on our first year anniversary, unexpectedly, of course. And I worked 30 years to make a paycheck instead of growing a business. I did what I had to do to put food on the table, and I undercut my worth quite a bit, but I made sure these kids had a life. And so,
well, from where I'm sitting, Richard, you did a good job.
You did.
You did. Well, you even got your daughter's approval. Well done. A lot more than just dirt work going on around here. Yeah. So then you guys ended up having, I don't know how in depth you want to go in this, but you and your husband ended up going through a breakup, a divorce. You guys dissolved the company. There's debt left over and all of that. And this is where you today are like, have a business agreement.
Yes.
And if you want to read a little bit more on that, she's very open about it on their website on the blog section too, of the precision gravel and earth solutions. But Was getting it back into excavation always on the radar after that experience? Because I think me personally, I'd have been like, well, that was a fun experiment. I'll go back to being in the dental industry.
Oh, absolutely not. I told everyone, I was like, I never want to do this again. And everybody kept on telling me, they're like, no, you need to get a business. You need to do X, Y, and Z. They're like, get pink skid steers, get pink excavators, stand out. I was like, no, I just didn't want to go through all the drama of it. But at the same time, I still had my fiduciary responsibility. It didn't matter how I felt about the business. And actually not about the business, but about the relationship I had with my partner. It mattered what my business meant. And so like I would constantly say, business don't care about emotions. We got to do and we can't do this. We need to set a standard. We need to set by this. And it was just a difficult time. Of course, you know, have you ever seen an easy separation or divorce?
There was some mudslug that painted her in the light, but she maybe was not as actively as a participant. Wow, that's it.
But
Okay.
I made sure it was known that I was there and I never went away. And translating into this new business, the thing is, you can't run from your past, especially being in a small town. And if anything, it is my past, it's my story. And I'm grateful to have went through what I went through, because now not only have I learned X, Y, and Z, but I don't know, I think I've learned more about myself and how to navigate as a person and how to stand tall in adversity. And it's okay to speak up and tell the truth. As long as it's the truth, that's okay. It only offends those who are offended by truth.
Right, right. So one of the things I'm really curious about was, so you started this first business, you guys, like you were in, lack of a better term, survival mode. Like you wanted to get money and paycheck and provide a living with it. So you go through that whole experience, and now it's almost like a beautiful world, right? Like you get a chance to look back at all the things you did or didn't do. And now you actually systematically set up this new company. Like how different was it for you from experience A to the current business that you have now?
Well, I feel like I'm definitely coming in, obviously, with a lot more experience. I'm hands-on on every single project now. Never thought that I would be, you know, the head operator, but here we are. And so that's, I think, a lot of, I wouldn't say like pride in a way that's advocating highly of myself. I'm just very proud of sticking to it. And so I'm happy about that. But the craziest part is actually when we separated, it was 2023. When we dissolved, it was here in 2025. So we operated the business almost 2 more years during all of this chaos going on. And we're still going through our separation and divorce right now. And so the craziest part is we grew the entire time. It's unfathomable to me that in 2024, our net profit grew 35%.
Wow.
During all of this. We as a 2-person team, and we had a subcontractor that helped on the side that I didn't exactly agree upon. It's some of the reasons why we didn't have money from certain debts. But I mean, we ended up grossing over $500,000 as a 2-person team, which is like completely unheard of in your 4th year of business. So it was hard to step from where I was to where I'm at now. I feel like I'm in like a grassroots campaign. Like I'm out there, I'm boots on the ground, I'm getting messy, I'm getting dirty, I'm hearing hell no a lot. Like,
yeah, but I'm assuming that you like when you started Precision, you're like, all right, these are the things we didn't have when we started the first business. We got to make sure those are in place before we get our business license. We had to have how much different was setting up and getting this business launched more on the back end than actually being in the dirt versus the first one?
I think there were just more honest and blunt conversations. Like me and Dad, like trying to figure out how do we want to have this or that, not like what direction do we want to be in, or you know, I pulled him out of retirement. What does retirement look like for him in the future? And you know, just having these conversations. And I'm grateful that I have a dad who, one, believes in me. If it wasn't for the way that we structured out, we were failing in our dissolution because we just weren't agreeing on how to sell the division of property. So we decided we'll buy it. So we just went and bought our skid steer. We bought our trailer. It was kind of fun to pull off the sticker. No offense, it's kind of therapeutic. That said Hollow Excavation on it.
Yank it off and put the new ones on.
It sounds awful, but it was, yeah, it's cool.
It's got to be a little bit of therapy, right?
We my dad, it's so funny, so we call it triple P's, and it's called being passive, being patient, but always being petty. And so I definitely practiced that here.
Oh man.
Shut up.
Well, one thing that you're really good at, and I don't know if you were like this with the previous business or one thing that you're really good at, and I don't know if you were like this with the previous business or this is just you like coming into your own now, but you're really, really good at organic marketing for yourself and your business.
So that's, I would say, like, I'm really proud of that. And I'm not someone who's afraid to put myself out there and fail. Whenever I first moved back from Fayetteville to Burlington, finding a dental job, it doesn't mean it's available. So I grinded. Like, I worked so many different type of jobs and really stretched myself. I mean, I worked nights from like 1 a.m. till 8 a.m. at a gym because previously, I don't know if we talked about this or not, but I was a national level bodybuilder at one time. I was like, I'm going to make my passion into my purpose, you know, and I thought getting into fitness and all that would be my thing, but so it's not, there's not as much money to make in that, and I didn't want to lose what I loved at that time. But so I did that. I mean, I stood in Walmart selling DirecTV. Like, I did that from South Carolina to Virginia, which is crazy to me. Like, why was I sitting in there drinking a Monster, eating beef jerkies, and talking to people about DirecTV? But that's what I was doing. And it paid my bills, and it paid it pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But going back to the marketing side of it, it's just like you can't be able to put yourself out there, and especially like you're selling yourself. And yes, to a certain degree, you're going to be showing certain facets of yourself. But I've learned just to be vulnerable, just be real. Like, people love the authenticity. They love it whenever I sit down with them in their problem. And like the name of our company, Precision Gravel and Earth Solutions, I actually had it as services, but I listened to one of your calls and we were talking about services and solutions and how to be a solution-oriented business. I was like, I already do that. Let me put that in my name. So when I'm with a client, I want to sit with them in their problem. I want to understand it. What does that vision look like? Because it's not just a backyard. It's going to be their memories. Like, I want to make sure that I'm developing that for them. And it's important to me. I think you keep on using the word pride, but like I take a lot of pride in making sure that I treat people the way I want to be treated. And my marketing reflects that.
Yeah, and I think that's, honestly, in my opinion, that's the major differentiator between men and women. We've got such a stoic personality. Like, God forbid if we show that we missed grade by 3 inches and had to redo it, or we have to show this problem. Like, if we're not perfect, we don't want to show it. Even when we're perfect, we don't want to show it because I just don't want to be out there. You know, so we end up taking photos of projects with no people in it, and we put it on networks that are literally designed for people. I hope you see the disconnect there if you're listening to this, right? Like, put yourself on there, get your employees on there, and you do a great job of that, and you're very vulnerable with your posts. You're starting a YouTube channel, or you've started one too, right? Where you're kind of documenting the journey with you and your dad. Is that right?
No, I actually had one with my ex. So if you want to, you can go back and see it. It was called All the Way with the Holloways.
Okay.
But it's really fun. I've had these ideas. Like, this is what I was wanting to do previously. I mean, whenever we started the business, it wasn't just how do we get ourselves out there. The internet is awesome. There are so many ways to reach so many different people in so many different ways. And, like, it does it for you if you do it correctly. Like, all you need is your name out there. Like, get on Yelp, get on Bing, get on Google. Anytime that you can put your name out there, get it on ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT, say, hey, ChatGPT, I want you to help me with writing up this. I want you to optimize my SEO. What areas can I have these links added in to go to another page that's going to boost my page? create the thing, then send her the link and go, hey, check out my site. What can I do to make it better? And like, I'm constantly like, I don't know, I'll be up at like 2 a.m. in the morning and I'm like, chat GPT, and like, she's my bestie. She's my little assistant. Like, I love it. So, as far as like marketing, like use the tools that are out there. Like they're there and they're really good.
That's so funny you say that, because I think if I were to look back the last few months, a majority of the people that I either work with or just reach out from listening to the show, 90% of it rolls around ChatGPT. And I'm like, God, do I talk about it that much? Like I'm associated to the AI stuff so much. But it is. It's like the problem with ChatGPT for a lot. Yeah, like the problem with ChatGPT for a lot of business owners is that you don't know what you don't know, and it can't help you unless you ask it. Like, hey, how do I figure this out, or what are the steps for that? And as men, we hate asking for help. So.
But then that just goes back to like the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions that you ask. And so learning how to talk not only to this app, but like to a person, you're not going to be able to get to a solution or what you need if you don't know how to ask. And I mean, that not to go on like a personal like scramble of anything, but like I remember being in my early, adulthood years, and how many times did I ask for help?
No.
Fucking never. I mean, at one point, I didn't want to come home. I slept in my car. I was homeless. I was taking showers in my school's gym. And it was better for me to do that because they were going through a harder time than to put extra pressure on them. And but if I would have asked for help, knowing that, and just things could have been different if I had known how to ask for certain things. And same thing goes into any of the facets of business and all this. It's incredible. I mean, just anyone that wants to use ChatGPT, message me. I don't care. You can find my personal page, Precision Gravel. I'm Stephanie Brooke on there. I don't care. I love helping people out, but I mean, I'll tell her, like, dude, that really sucks. Can you do this over in this part? Like, I built like almost like a friendship with her. She's like, you're awesome, girl. You too. I'm like, hey, take a break. You've done a lot for me today. Let's pick it up tomorrow. And she's like, yes, boss. I'm like, okay.
So mine started getting that personal connection. I was like, knock it off, because I found that it started answering stuff to me to make me happy. And I'm like, whoa, I'm not here to be made happy. Like, I'm here to like get facts, work on this, like true, like, I want you to be a professional. I don't want you to be my buddy. Like, I've got plenty of friends that tell me yes. And I had to like go in and delete a few conversations and like give it stricter rules. Cause I just started noticing, like, man, all the answers are making me shake my head. And I'm like, damn it, it's telling me what I want to hear. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Yes, a little bit. All that.
So you brought it up, and I'm gonna jump over to it because it's something that's intriguing to me, more for the discipline and the mental aspect of it than like the outer shell of it. But you were into professional bodybuilding, like you literally stood on the Arnold stage.
Yes.
Let's talk about that passion a little bit, and like what drove you to compete in bodybuilding.
So crazy enough, going back to kind of what I just heightened on about where I was sleeping in my car during, I was actually a college dropout that time. I decided I didn't want to go to college anymore, and
we actually played for college when she wasn't there. We found out.
Hey, girls got the cop.
Sorry, Dad.
Hey, we'll do what we gotta do.
It worked out. Go Monarchs. But no, so I was broke. I was broke. I was not only like broke financially, but like broken inside, And I just was doing what I needed to do to survive. And so I would go to the gym, work out, take a shower. I had no money, so I was just being there for like 2 hours or so. And somebody came up to me while I was working out and was like, hey, you literally have the genetic just shape have you ever looked at bodybuilding? And I was like, I don't know nothing about this. So it was like June. And so I just Googled it. I was like, man, why don't I try? So then I just started learning what to do, and I did a competition in August for a state show and got second place, and I was like, holy cow, I don't even know what I just did, but I did well. Like, what would happen if I actually put time into this? And it was the first time that I felt in my personal life that I had done something solely. I've always been on team sports and stuff like that, and I know what it's like to be a team, but I've never really done something for myself to have like results and see it, and not only like where it gave me something tangible, but like I could feel it, see it, and became like an addiction, because when it comes to the body is the most the most complex machine that we have. Like, think any computer that we have in the world, the body is the most complex, unknowing machine that we have on Earth. And so to get it to the level that you have to be at that standard, it's like you're mastering yourself. And the tact, the dedication, the early mornings, the pattern of the eating, and every time I did something, I was like, oh, but I could do it better. And I would always tell myself, like, if I didn't want to do it, I'd be like, well, so-and-so's about to do it, and I'm not going to be here if I don't do this now. And like kind of pushing through those hard times. And I don't know, it was awesome though. It was a really, really fun few years. It wrecked some habits on my body and hormones and whatnot, but and I'm glad that I've stepped away for a little bit. I'm kind of interested in maybe stepping back one day, but I got other eggs to fry. So.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I mean, for those of you listening, yeah, we got a bun in the oven too right here. So she's 7 months pregnant, in the field doing work, started a new business. God, what's your excuse, right?
It's so funny. We have my partner owns a restaurant, and the general manager came up the other day, and he was like, Stephanie, no woman has an excuse anymore.
Right.
He was like, you have doomed everyone. I'm like, I'm sorry.
It made us fall hard hat for the way just be on the same side.
Yeah.
Oh, he's fine.
And so, yeah, do you lean on him for the areas in the business that you feel that you're lacking? Because I think one of the areas that you told us about that, like, the finances aren't my strong suit, right? Like, I'm really good at the marketing and all that. Well, you've got another business owner, like your partner's a business owner. Do you lean on him, or do you run a lot of ideas through him for the areas that you're not positive on?
Yeah, so we bounce off a lot of ideas with one another. I've grown in my financial end just because of all the struggles I went through previously. I know what I don't want to be, and so that education costs money sometimes. But yeah, with my partner, I'm grateful. He's super supportive in what I do. He's encouraging me. It's been a difficult time. But as far as like financials, I mean, he was a mortgage broker back in the day. He's had some ups and downs in his businesses as well. And so it's just a tough teacher, and it makes you want to become a better person and to become a better business owner. And there's just a lot of advantages out there. And don't listen to me. Go get a CPA.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely.
You know
100%.
what I mean? I don't want to be the smartest person. Like, I don't want to know everything. Like, that's a lot of pressure. I want to be really good at this. So I rely on other smart people because I need a team.
I always joke that I want to be the second dumbest person in the room because I want to be able to teach somebody, but I want everybody else to be able to teach me. I'm curious. He owns a restaurant. Being from that industry, my first question is: did you meet him at the restaurant?
No, I did not.
All right.
Man, we'll throw the truth out there. So he was actually a great friend with my ex-partner, and a lot of the things that we had struggled with prior to choosing the separation, we had decided to all go on a beach trip, never talked to Jim ever before, and nothing happened at that time. Everything's platonic, respectful. But he was the first person to see some behaviors that typically would have been behind closed doors. So whenever everything was kind of shifting, because it was, you can't have it was brought to the light, and he was able to be there for certain stages and times, and through the process of everything, we grew a great relationship. So there's that truth.
That's phenomenal. I'm just curious because I can think back to when I was in the bar business and I was like, God, I think like 80% of all relationships, whether it was a first date or an actual relationship, probably stem from the person being in my establishment. Like, so I was just curious.
Oh yeah, that's how it was with my ex-husband. He was a bartender, bar manager at that time, and I just went out on Thursday to go line dancing because I got bored of sitting at the house, and then I met my.
Next thing you know, I came home with a husband. Yeah. Yeah, I just blinked. It was 3 years later, and I was married. I don't know what happened. What'd you put in that drink,
Yeah,
buddy? Yeah. Yeah.
You don't want me to interject.
We'll slide past that one then. We'll slide past that. So like you yanked. Okay. So okay, back on track real quick. Back to bodybuilding. I've never done bodybuilding, and like you could probably see in the video now, I'm so focused on work I don't even take care of my body properly. But I do. I used to lift weights a lot. I love riding a bicycle, and there's something about the dedication and the commitment that it carries over into other things you do. Have you noticed that you lean on the strength of like you built the tools internally to be a bodybuilder? Do you lean on those tools when you're building a business too?
Oh, definitely. The biggest thing is tact, and going back to like what I was talking about was like you push yourself, and it sounds kind of weird, but when you get to that final stage, you're most times you're a little bit under your caloric intake. You're using a lot of expenditure with how much you're moving at that time. We don't like to call it starving or anything like that, but you're pushing your body to extremes, very, very much so. And I almost say like it's the closest thing to a life support. Like you're like close to death, but like you're making sure that you're keeping everything functioning correctly because. I mean, you have so many checks and balances when it comes to the way your chemical processes inside. So, like, if you're manipulating your salt to make your skin a little bit drier, that makes a big difference. Like, if you have a layer of water in between your skin and your muscle, you're going to look different on stage. And it doesn't matter. You could, like, if you go to the Olympia, you have those 5 men that are on stage that look like big old sausage links up there because all that muscle. They are not there because they were only the hardest worker. There's people that probably may work harder than them, but they have the best genetics with the hard work. And they're peaking at the perfect time. So, like, who could have been number one? That one person to his left may have had some stress earlier that day, and it just changed just a little bit enough just for it to make him present a little bit differently at that time in a subjective way because you're being judged. So it's a very interesting, a lot of like work and tact in that, but definitely translating it to excavation. When you're in that compromise spot and your body is literally saying like, I always want to give up, but you know what your goal is. Same thing in business. Sometimes you get to that point where everything feels like you have that pressure and everything's falling on you. And you're like, I just want to throw in the towel. You have to have that tact, that perseverance, that big picture mindset to know this is temporary. And my reward is coming. It's just like, wanting to go to heaven. This is temporary. Yep. How am I going to get there?
Yeah, but I'm assuming, did you bring that principle of structure and routine to your business? Like, do you have like a routine, like certain days, like back office that you're going to do this work and that work? No,
not really to a certain degree. Because everything's different. I know that I want to touch little pieces of this and that every single day. But, with being in a grassroots position right now, we're just going through and bulldozing, trying to get any room, any door. But previously, I would say maybe more so. But at the same time, I was a second operator. So, I don't know. If we're in the beginning part of the lane clearing, I didn't need to be there right then. But then I needed to be there on the third day because I needed to be out on the skid steer with the grapple bucket. And he could be on that side and I'd be root raking. So that week might look different than if he's just doing 3 driveways the next week. Because we cut like a better best schedule. So we did it like where we try to have like 1 high production week if we could have it scheduled that way. Have 2 medium ones and then have everything else fill in the gaps in between. So we could have constant cash flow, long-term cash flow, because those larger jobs were getting paid half up front. We're just trying to have a way to keep money in the bank.
Yeah, I hear you. Last thing I want to touch on about your bodybuilding and personal life, though, is you made a comment earlier and it made me chuckle because I felt the same way. Isn't it funny that like the hardest thing you do afterwards, you're like, that was awesome. I want to do it again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's addicting. And then I'm like, and I can do it better.
Yeah. So I ride my bicycle across the state of Iowa. Oh, as I say, Stephanie, I ride my bicycle across the state of Iowa. We are not in sync. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I've cut you off twice, so I'm sorry.
No, maybe I was doing it to you. I'm rude.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, like, I ride my bicycle across Iowa. It's like 550 miles. And the last day, I'm always sad that it's over. And I'm like, God, I just want to keep riding. And people are like, you're insane. I'm like, I know, but I think that's why I love, like, it's for me, it's singular focus, right? I don't have all that outside distraction. I'm assuming bodybuilding the same way. Like, you have to have singular focus on your body. And if it doesn't help the body, then it's noise. And I think there's a beauty in that, just like singular focus.
Oh, there definitely is. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, in my brain, I'm a visual person. So I'm thinking about you on a bicycle and you're going and it's fast. And everything as you're going past is kind of blurring out when you're left and right. And you're just looking straight forward while you're bicycling, right? And you're just in your zone. You probably got a podcast on or whatever that one song is. I don't know if you do it on repeat, but you probably have like your way that you have it going. And I was the same way when I came to bodybuilding. I was on the back of the stage. I put my headphones in. I was focused. Nothing else was happening around me. When I went on the stage, I didn't see people. I didn't see a lot. It was me, that moment, and I was ready because I was prepared.
Yep. No, that's awesome. I actually don't wear headphones or listen to music when I ride a bicycle, and it's on purpose. The first 40 minutes sucks, but then all of a sudden I get all the noise out of my head. Because like the first 40 minutes you're just talking, like you're beating yourself up like this, I don't want to do this, or like you're worried about work things or all that. And then I find that
Sorry,
yep.
I'm gonna think.
Yeah, we long distance motorcycle riding. It's clearing.
Sorry, sorry.
Yeah,
I promise.
No, you're good. We'll edit it out if we need to, or he'll leave it in because it's real. Life of a business owner right there, right? Like phone rings, we got to take it. But no, for me, it helps me clear the noise. It's almost like a meditation. So enough about me. We're here talking about you. So with precision, like you yanked your father out of your retirement. Like it's a hard word, but it's kind of true, right?
Oh yeah. I tell people all the time, like if he wasn't already bald before going into retirement, he would go bald because you were going to start crazy. He needed something to do.
Inventing some of the weirdest thing in the world to do.
You think someone that's been waking up. I mean, as a kid, I grew up watching him. He and my mom. They did the vinyl siding together. So it was kind of cool in my head because I was kind of replicating what I seen. And I grew up just seeing the hard work. Like they would wake up, the neighbors next door, every other week we would transfer who was driving the kids to school between the two families. And they were dedicated to make sure that they were there for every single sporting event. I don't know what time that they weren't there and supportive. But I watched them wake up clean, come home dirty. And I didn't understand it as much as a kid, but as an adult reflecting and looking back, I could see things at a different lens. And I don't know, it was just unique to have that experience, and I have a lot of gratitude to it. But getting him out of retirement, he needed something to do because he's been doing that for freaking 30 years. And
yeah,
to be honest, he was starting to worry me a little bit because you get bored, you just start doing some things. It wasn't bad. It wasn't. No, he had a lot of fun experiences. He traveled all throughout the whole United States. They have a map where they put like the outlines of their motorcycles and all the trips that they've done, and they've seen beautiful places, met incredible people. And I know that he's enjoyed that, but I think he was getting a little stir crazy too.
Oh yeah.
I had a
Does that make this?
We were about to have a desert at the farm. There was a skid steer there. So we had rows that went from 4 foot to 10 feet. I had all the way through the farm.
Oh, yeah. You give a man equipment, no structure, and next thing you know, you got a whole new property, and you're like, I don't know, I was just playing with it.
Yeah,
I just play it. Yeah, that's hilarious.
She said the hardest part of working with me, she says, is getting me out of bed in the mornings. I had got a little more comfortable at waiting to 8:39, maybe crawl out. But I work later.
Well, yeah, like when you're retired, you're retired like 5:30 doesn't have the same purpose as it did when you were working.
Absolutely. She'll call me at night. She'll say, "Now, what time did I tell you we need to be here?"
I'm like, repeat it back to me. Oh, if he don't answer the phone, I'm getting in my car. I'm going down to where he's living at, and I'm there. What's up?
Yeah, regardless, we're sort of best friends like that anyway.
Oh yeah, we're knuckleheads.
That's funny. I am so impressed with the dog. For anyone that's watching the video, they see it. But if you're just listening, Gabby, right?
Yeah.
Is the dog's name? Yeah, Gabby. She's a mini Bernedoodle, and she's been sitting in Richard's lap since we started this thing. And other than a kiss here and there and needing a little head scratch, she's just chilling. It's awesome.
Yeah, she showed off right now. But
yeah,
she does.
We did an in-person episode at my house with a guy a couple of years ago when we first started doing the podcast, and like we were getting ready to wrap up the podcast, and Sam was talking, and Hazel just jumped up into the bar stool and landed in his lap, and he's like, huh! And then she just sat there until the end of the show. I was like, she's making a guest appearance. It's fine. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, if we didn't do this, she'd be trying to jump up, crying. She's like, I need attention.
The camera stand would be spinning around.
Yeah. Does she paw at you a lot?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she knows how to shake, do nugs, all that different stuff.
No, like Hazel just paws my leg or the couch to be like, hey, I need something or I want something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, she's good. If she needs to use the bathroom, it's a little whimper here and run to the door, and she knows we're talking about her now. She's going to start showing off. But
so this one doesn't need anything.
Oh,
So, Stephanie, one of the things I really wanted to ask you about on this episode, it's truly an assumption in my head. I'm just curious if it's true or not. But do you run into a lot of situations where because you're a woman, the customers or other contractors look at you different? Like maybe like, she doesn't have this skill, or like you have to work harder to build the trust, or is there an extra hurdle for you in excavation being a woman?
I think it depends on just the style of person that I'm talking to. But over the years, like I've learned how to talk to different people in different ways. So like the way I talk to you may be different the way I talk to him, etc. So I'm typically pretty well versed at meeting someone where they are and being able to find that direction to get them to move the way I want them to move, if that makes sense. I guess I am selling them. And so when I have the phone call initially, they might be thinking they're talking to the girl that's just answering the phone. But I like to ask questions that makes me better understand what's the project at hand. Hey, am I the first person that you called? Thanks for calling. And figure out, is there urgency? Are there financial restraints? And not every conversation gets that, but I try to see how the conversation, I let them lead for a second, and then I take the reins and get the info I want. So whenever I get there, I can really guide them the way that I want them so that they trust me, not that they just hear me or they just meet me. I want them to trust me from the very minute I step on that property for their estimate. So yes and no. But because I've learned a lot of different sales tactics, I've been able to kind of gear that where I don't feel it's as big of a hurdle anymore. I think it is more so with general contractors, more so than residential clients.
Gotcha. I was just curious about that. I mean, it's just such a male-dominated niche. Like, do they look at you like an equal, or they eventually will if they don't? But like starting out, they're like, oh, what's this chick doing? I was just curious.
I think people are more intrigued than anything, and it's not that they don't think I can do it, but I think they just want to see it happen. They don't tell me that they don't, but I can feel that they're going, well, I don't know, was it your ex that did it, or was it you, or I get that, and I can understand people having these type of ideas and philosophies, but at the end of the day, like you're pushing down a tree, you're looking up at the top of it, making sure it's not going to hit that tree. You're looking at the way that the project needs to be ran. One of the future projects that we're actually working on is a guy I went to college with. He called me up. He had a tree service company. Yes, tree service, not excavation company. Come out for 10 acres. And he came out with a mini excavator. And like one of those with a mini.
Back up, because I got confused. He owns a tree service company, and what was he going to do?
Oh no, he doesn't own it. He hired a tree service company because he's a very big real estate agent and investor and broker. So he just hired someone that helped him on a small job on a property because he said that he could do it. And he found out, he hired that company in September, and then finally had me come out in March that, only about 2 acres and maybe being cleared at that point. And of the clearing, let's say 75% of the stumps are still on the ground because all that company came through and just snapped the trees on the base. And it's interesting little job. But just going back to having someone that believes that you can get the work done. I've had people that he's like, Stephanie, I trust you. I've seen what you've done, and I can't wait to work with you. But I've also during this time, we had a job that was completely approved, and I really have the machinist supposed to be coming that week. Like it was over the weekend. On Friday, got the approval. I'm getting the machine set up. I was going to have the machine moved from Charlotte to Burlington on a Monday, coming in Tuesday morning, and I just randomly get a text that just says, "Hey, we're going to go a different way," and I'm like, what do I do? It was hard to not feel defeated in that moment. And one of the responses was because of, he said that my dad's experience wasn't, because he wasn't 30 years in excavation, which on our site we have 30 years of construction. And so he's been in the industry with utilities before, and nothing's jaded in that type of format. But it kind of hurt my emotions to think that he thought that I couldn't do it. And I was like, damn it. And fueled my fire. I can't wait to yes, I'd love to work with him in the future, and I would love for him to see it. But he just wasn't my customer, and that's fine.
Wonderful point of view on that. Like, he just wasn't your customer. I think we get too emotionally attached to the dollars and our pride. And sometimes we want to, we want to make that money, or we want to prove this, but like, not everyone's our customer. And I say that repeatedly. Like, you should be like, you're prospecting questions on the first phone call as much you interviewing them as they're interviewing you.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But Ryan, I picked up, customers are also couples. And whether she picks up on it or not, there are a lot of women that interject where they enjoy so much talking to her. I think the women become empowered a little bit by seeing a female that's doing this, and maybe pick up some conversation just by that.
Oh, yeah. The wives love seeing me out there. Oh, gosh. They're like, this is awesome. And they're like, our last job, it was probably 3 weeks ago or so. We were doing this one job clearing, or doing land grading for a backyard. I swear she had a little snack bag, lunch. What do y'all need? Oh, how is the baby? Like, she was just awesome. It's so interesting to see the different type of people and dynamics. And at the end of the day, people are people, and they're going to do what they want to do. So,
and to expand what Richard said there, like, I think in today's world too, it's such a different dynamic with couples than it was 30, 40 years ago, where like the man led directions of financial decisions and the women supported it. And now it's very mutual, right? Like if we're going to do this, they discuss it together. And so then, yeah, I never really thought of it that angle, but like you might even be an inside track when the wife's like, no, I want her to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, a little tip for you, because I've heard this from numerous guys along the way. But when you finally have that little baby of yours, you take that thing with you on estimates. My buddy says I close more jobs with the kid in the car than I've closed by myself.
Oh, I'm prepared. AJ, he's gonna be thrown into the wolves. So he's coming with me, whether he likes it or not. I feel like people overcomplicate sometimes. I don't know. I tell people, and it sounds like a really bad joke, and it is sort of. But 100 years ago, we literally had log cabins that didn't have air conditioning. They didn't have extra rooms for babies, and I mean, they just would clear off that spot on the shelf, put the baby in the box up there, make sure it was fed, change his diaper, and we didn't have to have all these luxuries. I'm like, what do you need? And I'm like, what are you asking? Like, it's a baby. Like, it just needs these fundamental things and love. And I don't know. I'm a little backwards on that. Maybe I'm a more manly.
Well, it's just marketing does a good job of fearing you into things, right? Like, oh, I need to have that for safety, this or that. Yeah.
But I'm excited for AJ to be. He, whether he knows it or not, he's going to be a little excavator.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll love it. Maybe he can dig the foundation for the next restaurant in the family empire.
We'll see.
I love it. What's the goal with the company? Like, you guys are pretty new this year, like, getting through the original business with the husband and now reformatting this, getting the equipment and all that. Like, what's your 3 to 5 year goal? Is it always going to be just as two of you, or is it going to be a little bit more growth and let Richard kind of slow down? Or like, where do you see this thing going?
So it's funny that you asked that, because before he got here, I was like, hey, get here a little bit early. And he was like, why do you have a whiteboard out? And I was like, I bet he's going to ask some of these questions. So let's run through this. He was like, oh my gosh. And the honest answer is that we didn't get to a conclusion. And let me fix this camera real quick because it keeps on dropping down. So I just saw your bald head starting to cut out a little bit. It might feel but no. So we really didn't come to a conclusion because obviously with where we're starting from coming out of another business. So there's it's not that we're having to dig out of the hole, but I'm having to present my business in a different way to be able to market with the certain folks that I've already have relationships with and rebuild that integrity, because we lost some with the different debts that we had in the way that we had to dissolve. So I'm having to reestablish, not just from firm ground, I'm having to bring in the field dirt, compact it and lives, and get back to solid ground as far as relationships and respect. But outside of that, I have a child that's coming, and we understand that there's going to be some hurdles that they're unbeknown to us at this point. So we're just at the go with the flow. We're really proud of what we've done so far. We're eager to do more, but we're not going to beat ourselves up if we don't hit this exact milestone or marker. And we're really figuring out exactly what direction we really want to go to. What's going to give him the quality of life? What's going to give me the quality of life? Because we're in business to be able to have the freedom to do what we want to do and also serve others. And so we haven't really found that direction just yet. I know that he wants to be retired again. He wants to sleep some more again. But
take the second
it's been
shift.
a lot of fun happening. Yeah.
But retirement for me does not mean stopping. That's
Yeah.
not stopping.
But I kind of like with my ex, in my idea, my vision is that I don't really want to be the big guy. I like the niche. I think it's a niche to be the little guy, to be able to serve in this type of direction. I think it fits my heart capacity a little bit more. Being a woman, and like you were talking about, it's a little bit different because I have an empathy when I'm going into different jobs and their projects. And I think we have enough going on in Central North Carolina that there's more than enough work for all of us to get it done. But I think my individual niche of me, selling me, is being able to help that residential client, and I don't know if the commercial work is what I want to be on. And do I want to have all the ups and downs of the 30, 60, 90, 120? And they're eager. They're looking for those folks that want to jump in, because everybody wants to be a big boy, but are they ready to play the game?
No.
And they know that. And they know that if you're going in, they know there's one right behind you. And I don't know. My dad's seen some things. We've talked about certain stuff, and I just don't know if I want that stress.
Yeah. Property development and light commercial, people that are building some strip malls or, big parking lot. It's still, in my opinion, it's commercial work, because it's not somebody's living on it. But it's completely different than being part of the crew building the new data centers or warehouses for Intel and Amazon and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think you guys got,
I love to have it up the crew.
Yeah.
But with that, sorry, I apologize.
No, I was just going to say, I think you guys got a great vision, and you're very true to who the two of you are, right? Like, this is who we are. This is what makes me happy. We don't need 50 employees or even a dream or a goal of 50 employees. And I'm not going to be disappointed if we only have the two of us and maybe one other in 3 years, right? Like, get to spend time with my family. I'm going to have a baby. Get to love and help people with the dirt work. And I think it's cool. There's something to be said about that. Like, you're not moving the goalpost every 6 months on yourself.
Right. And I mean, honestly, going from my previous company, where we were able to build and get to a point, I was ecstatic about it. And it was very hard to make a decision to dissolve. And there was, a lot of different conversations of, hey, just buy me out in the beginning, or hey, let's work together. There was just a lot of conversations, and it just didn't work out. You can't run a business if the money's not in the business. It's the best way I can describe that situation. Even though it was a profitable business, the money wasn't there. And but I've seen the success of it, and I can only imagine, like, we were at that point where we had enough calls coming in. We could have had that secondary crew. We probably could have had an extra $60,000 net income coming through this year, right now. We had the relationships, we had everything, and I'm happy with that. I don't need to be the king of the world. And honestly, if I could get another team that could do what we and him are doing, and have another team that's out there resurfacing and doing gravel driveways. I chose gravel and Earth Solutions for a reason, because I want to do more of like gravel maintenance repairs and having and establishing a relationship with every single person that I work with, and tell them, hey, I'm not just here for right now. I'm here to help you. I'm going to put you on this. Are you fine? I'm going to put you on this list. I'm going to give you a call. Let's see where you're at right before in the springtime. Let's see if there's something I can do to make this not a larger project down the road, and how that will compound over the years. So, like, I'm trying to get a big vision to make sure that we can structure it to have another team, because I would love to have that. I want to extend our family and kind of grow from there. But outside of that, if opportunity comes, I'm not afraid to make the money either. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love it. Wow. What a great story. Appreciate your honesty, being open with us and all that. It's neat to hear the bounce back, right? Like, everyone has struggles, but how did you bounce back? And your struggle was personal and business wrapped all in one. It would have been easy just to push it off to the side and be done with it, but you bounced back and found a way to take after this with your dreams and goals and with your father at your side. And that's pretty awesome. So congratulations.
Yeah, we ain't gonna quit.
Yeah.
Nope, and we're doing better.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, you two, thank you so much for taking time out of your guys' busy days to sit and talk with me and to share your story with everyone listening. I know it's inspired me. And if I take a few minutes after this to just like sit and think, I'm probably gonna be like, yep, I need a little more dedication to the little boring things on a daily basis, whether it be my health or the business. And there's some things I took away from this. So thank you very much.
Awesome. And definitely same way. So we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And, let's get back together in a year. Like,
let's do the recap in a year and see where we're at from there. So, I love it. Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for listening. If you made it this far to the end, obviously you enjoyed the episode, and I'm asking you to either rate the podcast or share it with some other people to help us grow as well. As you know, we do this content for you. We really don't make any money from it. The other thing I want to remind you is that we talked a little bit about marketing today. So if you guys are struggling with marketing, and she was saying things about SEO and using ChatGPT, if it sounds like she's speaking Greek, don't forget we have Throttled Up Marketing. You can go down to the show notes, click the link, check out Throttled Up Marketing, and my team can help get your business some online visibility and growing up the ranks in the Google Map Pack and other things. So on that note, keep working hard, keep grinding, stay focused, and we'll see you guys next week.